What's up, Notre Dame fans? You know what time it is, baby. The selections have been made. We're going to talk about it. Lucky Lefty Podcast, Onora Whiskey. We're brought to you by OnoraWhiskey.com. It's that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And let me tell you something. If you're going to drink, by all means, make sure you do it responsibly. Let's get it. Podcast. You know how we do it. Honora boys in the building, left on the road, back to the AZ from LA. Our brother from another mother, Detroit Zone, locked on ACC, locked on Wolfpack. Ken Gibbs, locked on college football. You know how he does it. He has some words because he playing left is trying to run from him right now. That Riley Leonard has led the Fighting Irish to an 11-1 record in a CFP berth. We're going to talk about it. Was Notre Dame shafted? We'll talk about it. Championship weekend? We'll talk about it. We also have our good brother, Jerron Jones, getting ready to join us in a minute. Hey, man, I have all bases covered. Notre Dame got you covered. College football got you covered. ACC got you covered. We don't give a darn about the SEC, so there's no one in here. That's how we feel. My boy, JJ. What's up, JJ?
What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up? Jerron Jones, Ken Gibbs, Sean Davis. We are in the place to be. So I'm going to start it off with JJ, right? Hey, you donned the gold helmet, my brother. You donned the gold helmet. How you feeling? Notre Dame ranked 7th, seeded 7th in the college football 12-team playoff. Let me know. Are you angry? Are you upset? You feel disrespected? I feel a little disrespected by these Indiana alumni that have been talking a little crazy, but we'll get to them in a few minutes.
They played 2 opponents with winning records in their conference.
That's how you feel, JJ? Just plain and simple? Like
how can they like I just saw what like the head coach was saying, like how they deserve a home game. I'm like, how do y'all deserve a home game when the only meaningful game y'all played, y'all got blown out?
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily fair to Indiana. What can they do but play the teams that are in front of them? They played last year's defending national champion and the runner-up. They didn't make Washington and Michigan fall off a cliff. They just happened to do that. That's not Indiana's fault. And besides, I'll say this more than anything else. Notre Dame's path got a little harder because of where they were seated. But y'all got the home game. You got the home game. You know what I mean? You got touchdown. Jesus will be looking down upon y'all and Indiana in that game. I don't think there's a better way you can write it.
Yeah, no, honestly, me personally, I felt that we deserved to be 5th, but I was okay with being seeded 7th. You know, it's just more so just like the game just got put together, and now Indiana fans are just going off the rails.
Your boy Dan Dawkins lost his mind.
They talking crazy.
He lost his mind. He lost his mind talking about what has Notre Dame football done since 2012 when they got blasted by Alabama. I was like, 2 college football playoff berths. And like,
what has Indiana done in existence?
In the existence of college football. Aren't they like, don't they have a worse record percentage-wise before this season?
Last I checked, people only went to the basketball games up there.
They don't go to those. They don't go to those anymore.
But,
from what I hear.
Yeah, but like this, what game was that? It was one game where they actually packed out Memorial Stadium, and it was good to see. I was all for. I was actually rooting for Indiana all year. I ain't think we would come to this like soon as now that we're matched up. Now they're gonna act like Notre Dame ain't been a perennial top tier team in recent years.
Yeah. And let me tell you something, man. It's crazy. That's like the cousin that was like always following you around when you guys were growing up and they didn't have any money. and then all of a sudden they get some money, and now they start acting brand new, name dropping, acting like they kicking it in certain circles now. Like, come on, fam, you still the same little cousin.
For real.
You know what I'm saying? They used to follow us around. Like,
it's not fair to tell. See, as a Lions fan who's being told, act like you've been here before, I can relate to where Indiana is. They ain't been here before. Let Indiana talk.
Really
they talk. Y'all got to understand.
And I do got to give it to them because, like, how many people really had Indiana and Arizona State in the playoff going into the season?
That's fact.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I give them their respect.
Notre Dame was supposed to be here. It was supposed to. Y'all was supposed to get here. Indiana was supposed to be what, 11th in the conference or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
They talk.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
All I know is, hey, 9-3, baby. Going to a big time bowl game. My fight in the line now. Shout out to Houston Griffith. You know what I'm saying? The recruiting coordinator, former Notre Dame safety down there, getting it done for my Illini. I'm cool with that. 9-3 works for me. I wanted a piece of Indiana though, because I really thought we could have gotten Indiana, but that's another story. Great. Look, I said this, KG. I think we said it on Three's Company. I really felt like this season, because of the way things were playing out, that it was going to be a great championship weekend, and I think it's going to be a fantastic playoff. I really do. I think this inaugural 12-team playoff is going to give the creators of this thing everything they wanted, every single thing they wanted when they had thoughts of expansion. I think it's going to play out, and it started in championship weekend. Some very competitive games, other than the first one.
I think it started from rivalry week.
Oh, that's
absolutely.
Because rivalry week was, oh my God, that was some some really good football played, and then it was just some really good semantics play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know this is what I like about the playoffs, because like you think about in the past years where only 4 teams get in, you only had about 8 fan bases that were really really into it in November. You know what I'm saying? Like outside of that, everybody else, they stadium half full. Everybody waiting to see what their bowl game's going to be. Everyone else getting ready for basketball season if they excel at another sport or whatnot. And this year, you really, really had people really, really supporting their football teams. I want to say it was about a good, even in the last week, it was probably about a good 20 to 25 fan bases that were really, still all in on their football team. You know what I'm saying? I really like the way it's going. Only thing, and given that, it's the first year of the 12-team playoff, I don't like how the seating is set up, where undefeated Oregon, who they've run the table all season, and they got to get Ohio State or Tennessee in the quarterfinal. You know what I'm saying? I think they should get decide with even the 5 and the 12, the winner of that game. That's just me. But I feel like stuff like that's going to change. But I feel like they got it right because of the fact that they're not undermining the importance of conference championship games. And I feel like if SMU got blown out like how it was in the first half of that game, Alabama gets in over them. Or I feel like even if with that 3-point win or loss to Clemson, Alabama would get in over.
I'm sorry. You said Alabama gets in over who?
Over SMU.
You said Alabama gets in over who? Maybe my connection's like. Why would they do that? Why would Alabama do that?
No. I feel like
that makes sense.
No, I feel like they would have a better shot at getting in this time around if they had somebody other than Mercer as one of their wins. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying no. I wholeheartedly believe SMU deserves to be in over Alabama. Absolutely.
Oh no, I was just doing the temperature check. Let me tell you, it's not your fault, JJ. I got PTSD because my granny called me. My grandmother is a diehard Alabama fan. My family on her side reside from Prattville, Alabama, and she's been calling me every week. Said son, I've been watching your show. You keep down talking my Bama, and the committee gonna hear you. They gonna leave him out. I said, Grandma, if I had that much power, I promise you, all y'all would be living in the penthouse by now. If I had that much power to where Ward is listening to me, said, well, wait. Before we make any decisions, what does Kenton think? I just got PTSD. My bad. You good. I had to make sure, But it's a Sunday. She a God-fearing woman. She called me everything but a child of God today because her time didn't get in. So I just got a little bit of PTSD. But you good, brother. You good.
Yeah, nah, I feel like SMU deserved to get in. And, Alabama didn't have no reason for 2 or 3 losses. Oklahoma and Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And Vanderbilt did really well this year. I got to give it to them. They really, even though they finished 6-6,
yeah.
they still overachieved because I feel like in recent memory Vanderbilt's always been at the bottom of the SEC, and they really opened some eyes with that win over Alabama, with how close they played Tennessee. They weren't no slouch this year. Like, listen, I understand the rigors of the SEC, but that's what they signed up for, being in that conference. That is. That's what you sign up for. That's what you pride yourself on. Okay, then bite the bullet when it bites you in the ass. That's all.
Yeah. They kind of got one hand tied behind their back because not a single SEC team outside of them has the academic rigors necessary to get in, but them. So it's like you said, you knew what you signed up for. You knew you could have said, hey, there are different conferences where everybody has to meet certain academic standards. We can go there. You chose what you chose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey,
I feel like Vanderbilt would be like a Syracuse in the ACC, in my opinion.
All right now. Let's knock it off. See, I gave you your respect, and now you actually are. Let me tell you something.
What's wrong with the ACC?
The SEC. No, there's nothing wrong with the SEC. That's my point. The SEC is in hypotheticals. Hypothetical Bama beats actual Bama by about 28 points. Because hypothetical Bama, Saban is still there. Julio's walking through that door. In real life, they could not muster a touchdown against Oklahoma. And don't get me wrong, I think Brent Venables is one of the best defensive minds that we have seen in a while. I think that he was supposed to be the Bud Foster of the 2010s and 2020s. Him and Dabo were supposed to win at least 5-6 national championships together. But now they've broken up, and it's like, this feel like when the Migos tried to make individual albums. It's like,
I like what you did there.
Y'all I like what you did there. RP Takeoff.
Hey, even on that note, I still stand that Takeoff is still the best Migo.
But you know what? Did you stream his album? Did you stream his individual album?
I did.
You wanted 20 people to do it. That album went double plastic. And that's no disrespect to the man. God rest his soul. Rest his soul. I'm just saying that those two belong together. They were better together. But I will say this. I think we can all acknowledge the SEC is the best conference. I'll give them that. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I draw the line at all this respect and reverence paid to the SEC that I don't think they have earned. I don't think that they've earned a level of reverence to say, hey, all of our teams, our mid-level teams, would dominate y'all. Based on what? We saw Georgia Tech and Georgia go to 8 overtimes. We saw LSU lose to a USC team. USC turned out to be 2 tons of buns this year. I ain't seen no cheekage like that since Pinky in 08. That's another story for another time. Don't Google that. But the reality is that conference has been good. They have not been good enough to say, hey, all of our teams, take any random team from us, put them in the ACC and they dominate, because we've seen the results. Cal did not beat a single ACC team through week 10, except, they lost to Florida State. They didn't beat a single ACC team through about week 10. And even the ACC teams that they did beat, I want to say Stanford was one of them, and lo and behold, they beat Auburn, who everybody said they had no shot against. Again, I'm not saying that the SEC is bad. All I'm saying is the level of respect due to them is greater or is less than what they're actually receiving with all this. We're a 4-bid league, and anybody who says otherwise doesn't know ball, and Ole Miss belongs in, and will beat a 4-8 Kentucky. The same Kentucky team, they got worked by Louisville. They had Aston Gelati looking like the second coming of Lawrence Taylor. That team, you can't tell me, oh, yeah, we belong in just because you didn't earn it. You didn't earn it. And to me, the results on the field have to matter. Don't get me wrong. The SEC is, again, I give them all their credit for winning as many national championships as they have, for having as many 4 or 5 stars they have. No doubt about it. But at some point in time, the results on the field have to matter. Because if stars are all that matters, Notre Dame is undefeated this year, with all due respect. I know y'all are only a 1-loss team, but when Northern Illinois came to town, it was not about who had the most 4 or 5 stars. It was about who won when you put the ball down. When Michigan went up to Ohio State, it wasn't about who's had the better recruiting classes, who paid more for their team. It was about who wins the football game. North Carolina consistently out-recruits NC State. And yet, we got not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 times straight. And if you want to talk about the fights included, we got 6 wins straight over them boys. Teach a man how to squabble, Mac Brown. Teach a man how to squabble. So, I'm just saying, I give the SEC their respect, but respect for 4+ teams in the playoff, knock it off. Knock it off. And I'll tell you, if I was these other conferences, I would get together and tell the Big Ten and tell the SEC, hey, listen, we're going to get rid of the committee altogether. We're going to do it like basketball does it. We're going to do a net rating system that's completely detached from the coaches poll and the AP poll. That way, what you do on the field is what determines who you are. So you can try to schedule all the soft teams you want. You can play Mercer in week 13 if you want, but it ain't going to help you. It ain't going to save you if you lose in the 6-6 teams. If you're losing to teams that lose to Georgia State, with all due respect to Vanderbilt.
Okay, so with the whole going off the basketball thing, hear me out on this. Should they do like the whole, how you do the ACC versus SEC challenges,
right,
where pretty much play like based off of like division standings from last year? You play that
absolutely,
and I feel like whoever wins those challenges, that SEC or that conference should get, like when it comes to picking those conference champions, I feel like they should get priority when it comes to those spots.
And if that were an actual thing that these conferences agree to, I fully support that. If there was a full challenge where you're looking at a sample size of about 10 or so of these teams playing each other, hey, I can live with that. But I remember not too long ago, I remember like it was yesterday, the Sun Belt Conference went up against the Big 12. And the Sun Belt went undefeated against the Big 12, beating a team that went to their conference championship, beating a middle-of-the-road team, and beating a bottom feeder. And I said, now, wait a minute. As much as we want to give respect to you're a power conference, you're a power conference, you're a power conference, the results on the field said that the Sun Belt was better. So if we are willing to honor that challenge and honor, hey, if the SEC win, they win it. Because me personally, I'm never against. If I give you a fair one and you beat me, you beat me. If we put our hands up and you win, you win. But I'm against all this hypothetical because where I'm from, you got to show me. You got to prove it to me. On the west side of Detroit, you can't say, oh, you bigger than him, so you'll beat him up. That's the fight. No, you got to get in them cages, baby. Hey, go ahead. Put your hands up, Hey, your foot on his foot. Go ahead. Y'all go at it for 15, 30 seconds, however long it is, and we're going to settle it like that. I don't understand all this. The SEC is the hypothetical champion right now. They're the hypothetical champion. They ain't never lost a game in hypothetical. And I'm sitting up here wondering, who the hell has Texas beat all season? I'm sitting up here wondering, who the hell have most of these teams beat to get the respect and reverence that they have gotten? Other than the circular logic of, well, this SEC team is good because they beat that SEC team, and therefore they're good. How? That same Texas A&M team that everybody was raving about, didn't y'all go down there and do something to them boys? Didn't y'all? And yet people are questioning Notre Dame's resume, but nobody said anything about Texas. I don't understand it. So from that aspect, I agree with you, JJ. If there's a full challenge like there is in basketball, I love it. Everybody, go at everybody. I want to see big teams going on big. I want to see Big 10 and Big 12. I want to see ACC Big 10. I want to see SEC Big 10. So that way we can fully iron out, hey, listen, this is what it is. Instead of all these teams playing the Island of Misfit Toys University, instead of playing the differently abled school for the directionally able in South Louisiana, I want to see you play some real teams every week of the season. And that way, we can put it all to rest. We ain't got to ask no questions, or we ain't got to say no, they would whoop the wheels off this team. Well, did they? They played. Who won? I'd love to see it.
Lucky Podcast. So, JJ, before we get into the weekend of games, let me ask you, because it's going crazy in the chat right now. If you're sitting there, what are you telling? What combination are you telling Marcus Freeman? It's prime time, December the 20th, in the Bend, Notre Dame, Indiana. What combination of uniform are you using for this historic moment? Like, are you coming out in the traditional blue and gold? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I love the different combos, but this is our inaugural home playoff game. You have to go with the tradition. What got us there? You know what I'm saying? What we stand on. Let's be ourselves. Let's not go into this new era trying to be something that we're not. Let's be who we are. That's it. If we be who we are, I like our chances.
Okay.
I honestly like our chances against Georgia.
Especially with the backup quarterback. I'm keep it a buck.
Yeah.
Keep it a buck. I liked our chances with the way Carson Beck was playing, which was ineffective.
And you think of the last 2 times Notre Dame has played Georgia.
We had the ball with a chance to win both times in the fourth quarter.
We're going to have a serious conversation about Carson Beck one of these days.
Oh, no. We can have it right now.
Oh, yeah. Nah.
He Puff.
Yeah.
Puff Daddy in the family.
All I'm going to say is this. If Carson Beck's last name was Johnson, or even better, if his last name was Sanders and he looked like us, they wouldn't even, they'd be talking about him like he was they'd be talking about him like he needs to go play receiver. He needs to try out for tight end. He can't hit a ball accurately. He can't throw in the windows. He can't anticipate. Doesn't have a big-time arm. He's a decent athlete. Maybe he could try to do something else. But I'm just not sure about this Carson Johnson kid. But because he's Beck and because he's at Georgia, we're going to lie to ourselves and pretend like he's not what was that kid? He's not Stetson Bennett with 2 more inches of height. We all got to sit here and pretend like he's something that he's not. But JJ, I agree.
I mean, Stetson is a back-to-back national champion. You got to give it.
He is. But
he is 25.
And that that doesn't make you a play. It's like people saying Ashton Jonty and what he did in the conference championship in the Mountain West needs to be added in as a data point, and Travis Hunter not playing in the conference championship is a data point against him. How? That's a team thing. If the team was filled with 40 Travis Hunters or the equivalent of Travis Hunter at their position, of course they're going to go to the Big 12 championship. They're not. With all due respect to Ashton Jonty, that's a team thing. So with that in mind, I think the same thing about Stetson Bennett. I think the same thing about Carson Beck. They're lapping off of team success in a way where it's like, brother, you ain't have to do nothing but hand off right and hand off left. But
no, he literally came in to hand off to win the game.
Hello, that's all he did. The boy was clearly concussed. He took his official visit to Concusstia University. He came back and said, I guess we can go ahead and hand it off. As long as I don't got to do too much, I guess we can do that. But I will say this. Notre Dame, as iconic of a brand as you all are, it would be disrespectful to go with anything but the classics. It would be disrespectful to go with anything but the traditional, because that's Notre Dame's signature look. I like the all greens. I like the all greens more than most people. I think they're fantastic. I really do. Don't you do that. I didn't even know y'all had black uniforms. I said, wait a minute. Where the hell does all black come from? What is this? What is it? I don't want to see that. In your first ever home playoff game, go with the classic. Go with everything that y'all have been wearing since Sean, you probably know this. How long have y'all been wearing the classic look?
Shoot, going over what? 70-some years now, JJ?
70-some odd years. You can't mess with that, man. You can't compete with what Joe Montana was wearing, what Jerome Bettis was wearing. You can't compete with what Tim Brown was wearing. You can't compete with what them boys was wearing. And with all due respect, despite how his NFL career went, and the Notre Dame legend Monte Teo was wearing, you can't compete with that. You go ahead and you play in that. You don't got to do nothing special and different here. Be who you are and go ahead and dominate, or don't. And, we'll see the results. But in all seriousness, I don't think you go with a special uniform combo here.
Especially versus a team like IU.
No, you just can't do that.
Now, I wouldn't mind the special combo against Georgia.
Yeah,
down in New
or if
Orleans.
it
I
was
wouldn't
like,
mind that.
like a team that does do like the whole uniform thing, like
Or
like,
somebody like that. Yeah.
And if we were on the road, okay, cool,
Yeah.
do what you want. But this is our first inaugural home playoff game.
Right.
Where would we represent, please?
And by the way, Notre Dame is a unique qualifier in that even if they are undefeated, even if they go 13 or 12-0 every single season, they will always be guaranteed a home playoff game. Yep. Because they're not a conference champion, so they do not qualify for the bye. They will get a home playoff game every single year. And like you said, JJ, this is just the inaugural. It's only up from here. So this is a massive deal that going back through the history books, regardless of how it goes, be it y'all dominate, whoop the wheels off IU, send them boys back to Bloomington crying. I think it's a wonderful university, by the way.
I think, of course, it's the alpha chapter for your.
Shout out to the good bro. Shout out to the good bros. We ain't got to talk about my fraternity right now. Those canes back there don't mean that much. But in all seriousness, I really do think that this is, it's going to be an amazing atmosphere, and this is going to be an amazing part of Notre Dame history, regardless of the outcome, which I very much so believe Notre Dame will win. But again, this is one of those moments that, 50, 60 years from now, we'll be telling our kids, grandkids, great-grandkids about, like, hey, this was the game. You had to be there to understand. This was the first, and we started many traditions based off of the fact that if we were good enough, we were always guaranteed a home playoff game.
Lucky Lefty Podcast. So let's get to it. I want to start down in Georgia, Atlanta. Rematch. A lot of people, based upon the game before, which Georgia Tech took Georgia to 8 overtimes, and a lot of Notre Dame fans, we did a show leading into the SEC championship game yesterday. Myself, Left, and Reggie Brooks. And Reggie was like, yo, Georgia is going to win this game. And a lot of Notre Dame fans were like, oh, Texas is about to just stomp Georgia. They look terrible against Georgia Tech. And Reggie was like, look, I know what winning football is, and I know what a winning program is. He was like, that's a winning program that has been through something. And their physical play is on a different level. Regardless of whether or not you believe in their quarterback and other things, their physical play and coaching in comparison to Sark and how Texas plays, which is with a lot of talent, but the physicality that it takes to actually overcome Georgia is something that they might not have. And he actually said that they will win by 10 points. Eventually, I don't know if it was more impressive to win the way they won or to have Carson Beck stay in the game and they win. I just felt like to win with the backup against Texas, which meant they had to physically dominate the game. And for the second straight time in this matchup, it seems like Sark has played Georgia's game. It's like, dude, you cannot line up and run straight at Georgia. That's not your game. I get it. But you can't abandon the run. You just not with the multiple fronts, and that allows Kirby to get into his bag, like changing coverages, shifting the defensive line late before the snap, all of those different things to confuse. I think after the first 2 quarters, Ewers was more confused in the fourth quarter than he ever was all day. And it was just amazing to me to watch. Georgia just seems, and I think Notre Dame fans are upset with Notre Dame getting the 7th seed, not because of, I'm interested, is it because it's the 7th seed and you felt like they should have been higher, or it's because you have to face Georgia in the second round? Like, what's really the issue? Is it because you're in the bracket with Georgia that you're upset, or do you really feel like Notre Dame deserved? I'll say this. I'll stand out there. I'll go out on a limb. I was very vocal after the loss to Northern Illinois and said the number 5 seed is over. You don't deserve it. I feel like, KG, based upon what you said, in negotiations, Jack Swarbrick had to negotiate to get Notre Dame the best spot they could, saying if you lose one game to a really good opponent or go undefeated, you're pretty much guaranteed this number 5 spot. Notre Dame.
Right.
You're not in the conference. We can't give you the bye. But if you do what you need to do and handle business, you're pretty much guaranteed this 5 spot. But
Absolutely.
you can't, that 5 spot, with a loss like that loss, a lot of things need to happen in order for you to get back. And the things that needed to happen didn't happen yesterday. Right. That's what took place. Georgia won. That hurt. Clemson won. That hurt a bit to move up to 6 or possibly 5. And so you settle in at 7 when in the middle of the season, I wasn't even sure we could get a home playoff game. And now Notre Dame is sitting with a home playoff game, going up possibly against Georgia with a backup quarterback. I'm all for it. Let's do it. Let's get it on. And then we probably face Penn State in the semis. Okay. Look, people feel like, man, this isn't the ideal road. I feel like if Notre Dame is who they believe they are and who we believe they've grown to be, this is the best road to prove it. This is absolutely the best road to prove it.
Y'all gonna see Aston Johnson. Y'all ain't gonna see Penn State. I really
you calling that now? You calling Boise to beat them now?
It's either gonna be Boise or SMU. Penn State is not a serious football team. They're the Chrysler 300. They're the Chrysler 300C of college football, and we do this every single year with them.
Until the Bentley pulls up, they look like a Bentley.
Until that Phantom come up, they look like a Phantom.
Yeah.
And then that Phantom comes in every year, and all of a sudden we start asking, is James Franklin a good coach? When's the last time James Franklin has won a big game? Every single time. We do this every year with them. We do it every year. And every now and then, on his best years, which, by the way, I think this is one of his best years ever. He keeps those big games close. He still loses them. He still loses.
Facts.
He still lost to Ohio State this year.
Oh, last night was awful, though. Post-game, like penalties. You had 2 more penalties than Oregon, and you blame penalties for the loss?
Let me tell you something. As sure as the sun rises on the east and sets on the west, you can count on 3 things in life: death, taxes, a James Franklin coach team choking in the big game. You got to know it. You got to know it's coming. You got to know. So if I'm Notre Dame, I'm getting ready for Georgia first. You handle what's in front of you. Well, actually, I get ready for IU first, and then you get ready for Georgia, and then you prepare for Boise or SMU. But you're not going to see Penn State because again, Penn State showed us.
You think SMU will really go into that whiteout and will come out victorious in Beaver Stadium?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And honestly, we're going
to Styles do make fights. Their offense is similar to Oregon.
And we're going to have a very serious conversation about the fact that of all the teams that we talk about who didn't deserve a home playoff game, Penn State, perhaps. Again, I keep asking people these questions about Texas and Penn State, and nobody comes to me with an answer. When you talk about Texas, do you know how many Power 5 teams they've beaten that finished the regular season with a winning record? 2. Just 2. Texas A&M, who has 4 losses, and Florida, who has 5. That's it. Nobody else that they beat all year long is a Power 4 team and finished with a winning record but those teams. Man, stop. I'm telling you this right now. SMU did not play SMU football in the
first half.
Not at all.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
The penalties, if they would have got beaten by penalties, I'd say that's SMU football because they average about 80 yards of penalties per game going into that. So that's who they are. They are a team that swarms, but they're a little reckless. They are a team that they going to fight and they're going to claw in them trenches. They're going to hold a little bit. That's who they are. But the turnovers were completely and wholly uncharacteristic of that team. They had not had a turnover game like that since Duke. That was the only time that they turned over the ball in as bad of situations as they did in that game. So I have no doubt in my mind, and they won that Duke game by the hairs on their chinny chin chin. I have no doubt in my mind SMU takes care of Penn State. And even if Penn State proves me wrong, I know they're not getting past Boise. I have seen it too many times. I have watched this Penn State team, and I'm hard up to go against Cass Tech guys. I'm hard up. I love me the King brothers. I love both of them. I know they still got one on the roster now. That's the second team, all Big Ten guy. Hey, love you. Love both of the King brothers. I can't support Penn State. I can't do it. They proved me wrong too many times. They had me looking stupid too many times, so I accept who they are. But with that being said, again, Notre Dame's path to the national championship is very real, is very viable. And by the way, again, Malik Zaire, y'all see he's not here anymore, not at them boys in the playoffs. Because I was told that Riley Leonard couldn't get him done. Big Steve and Jelly Lobby was trying to silence me. They was trying to silence me. And here we are, 7 weeks later. What that record look like, Sean?
They're 11-1.
What are them boys in, Sean? Are they in the Quick Lane Bowl?
No, they're in the CFP, number 7 seed.
They're in the Military Bowl. They're in the Costa Rica Bowl.
No,
you said they hosting the playoff game.
No, the Miami Hurricanes are in the Pop-Tarts Bowl though.
Oh, okay. So they playing Notre Dame and Miami playing in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, right?
No.
Oh, so Touchdown Jesus gonna see a playoff game is what you're saying?
Yes, December 20th.
Oh,
prime time.
Okay. All right. See, and that's why Malik high, because he heard what happened to the United Healthcare CEO. He the CEO of the Steve and Jelly Lobby, and he said, y'all ain't finna catch me. Y'all ain't finna catch me. My security detail is elite. Y'all ain't finna catch me. But you see what Riley Leonard has done. Again, he hasn't been phenomenal. He hasn't been a world beater, but he hasn't had to be. And by the way, interesting fact about Notre Dame that Sean and I went over before the show started. Simple rating system is a rating that qualifies your average point differential against your strength of schedule, okay? This year, Notre Dame finished with a 21.9. JJ, tell me, when is the last time Notre Dame finished with a 20 or higher in the simple rating system? Give me a guess. Give me your best educated guess.
2015? Nah.
You would bias me say 2015 because you were on that squad.
1988 is a crazy answer. That is a crazy answer.
I actually got it right when you asked me before the show.
He did. Sean did get it correct. He got it correct. What year?
No, it's 88. That's the answer.
No, it's not 88. 88 is not the answer.
Okay, what's the answer?
Give me a guess. What year would you guess?
I'll say 2017.
1993.
Oh, wow.
You were not born yet last time the simple rating system said Notre Dame was this good. Hey, that's not me. That's not. I promise you. Again, just like I told my granny, I'm going to tell y'all, I don't got that much power. I don't got that much.
Nah, Notre Dame good for sure. And I keep telling people all the time, I take Jeremiah Love over Ashton Ginny any day.
Also, the fact that multiple people in here guessed 93, I'll tell you what, Notre Dame fans know them some ball. If they don't know nothing else, they know them some ball, boy. I'll tell you what.
That was the championship that was stolen from us. It stays with us. We knew how good we were. They took it from us.
Hey, listen. And again, I wasn't even allowed from them, but I grew up, that stolen cable, which, by the way, the statute of limitation is gone. Leave us alone, Comcast. But I grew up watching.
Wait a minute, did you splice it off your neighbors?
Well,
is that how you stole it?
So my uncle, who is now a hard-working citizen who follows the law religiously.
So all of this is allegedly. This is allegedly.
Oh, no. I'm okay admitting it. I looked up the statute of limitations on it. He good.
Okay.
And he don't even live in the state of Michigan no more. So that's another thing about it. But I had a relative, my uncle, who was very good at doing this. And he set us up with a game. I used to stay on ESPN Classic. And I'm going to tell you, one of the first games I saw was some of that footage from those 93 teams, the Notre Dame 93 teams. And even further back when Joe Montana was there. And I'm like, wait, what is this? I like this. I like this a lot. And I knew I loved football. I didn't necessarily love Notre Dame. I was a Michigan guy growing up. Hey, I'm fully honest about that. But, I did know that they were playing some great ball at that time.
So let's go ahead. What stood out to you from that Georgia-Texas game?
I just think that I think Georgia's the way that Georgia's passing game was a complete liability. Even when Carson Beck was healthy, that passing game was a complete liability. And at this point, as much as people talk about, I saw somebody in the comments saying that Notre Dame can't complete a pass past 15 yards, and Georgia can. Even if the starter's in. What has Georgia shown you in that regard, buddy? Because I remember coming into the year, everybody said it was yours, it was Beck, and then there was a big drop-off, and then Shador, and then a big drop-off in Cam Ward. And somehow only 2 of those guys have played themselves into the Heisman conversation. And it wasn't the 2 guys at the time. So, I really and truly look at this game and say, this is going, if you are looking at being the team that plays Georgia, regardless of who it is, be ready to be physical as hell. Mm-hmm. And if you can do that, if you can match their physicality, I wouldn't even say beat it. If you can match their physicality, you'll be just fine, because right now they are just horrendous at throwing the ball, which that's what I believe Georgia Tech showed us more than anything else. Because everybody knows, if you pay attention to ACC football, Georgia Tech is physical. They may not have the best passing game. Their defensive backs may not always be in position. But when you play Georgia Tech, you're going to have them ice bags on you. It's like what Mississippi State used to be like back in the day before Mike Leach got his hands on it. God rest his soul. But before he got there, they were physical as hell. Dan Mullen had a physical outfit. That's what they were. And even before that. And that's what this Georgia team is. But again, they can't throw the ball. That's what stood out to me. Other than that, I saw what I expected out of Georgia. A defense that's fast, that's physical, that's swarmy. They got length. They got athletes everywhere. But offensively, the Achilles heel of not being able to throw the ball, that's going to be tough to overcome.
JJ.
Again, I just think they're just incredibly mentally tough, just because given their resume and what they've been able to do in the past. You know what I'm saying? I feel like even with that loss to Alabama, even with going to Texas and blowing them out the way they did, had to have being down all game against a physical Georgia Tech team and pulling that out in 8 overtimes, and then to turn around and then to win in overtime over Texas. You know what I'm saying? Like Kirby even said it best. He said, I've had some really physical teams. I've had some really physically tougher teams, but I don't think I've had anybody I don't think I've had any teams that's as mentally tough as this team. Like that's the only thing that worries me about, because it's like, if our offense can execute on their defense, I like our chances. But again, that Georgia, it's Georgia defense. I still believe they're elite. I still got to give it to them. I mean, hopefully, we go in there and we do, score 14 quick ones. But I just think I see it being a slugfest. I see it being more like how it was to start against A&M. What was the score at halftime? What, 6-3?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like if Georgia keeps it close, I feel like they pull it out. But like Notre Dame has to put them out of their misery.
Make them play. Well, this is the thing. There really is because Notre Dame wants to get out front and let that defense kind of like begin to suffocate you, right? That's the best type of game that Notre Dame wants to play, and then they can lean on their run game with their running backs and the offensive line.
Yeah.
That's not going to do. Georgia's going to keep coming. Even if you jump out,
I know.
You have to physically match them, like you said, KG, for 60 minutes. There is no other way to beat them. You have to beat them. They're going to force you to beat them. Can they be beat? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, they can be beat. I think Notre Dame's style of being able to run right at them, a la Georgia Tech, because like you said, Georgia Tech makes you wear ice packs after the game. Well, guess what? Georgia Tech was the team being wheeled off the field when Notre Dame came down there.
Yeah.
To Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
As physical as they are, they didn't have that quarterback.
I was just about to say, they didn't have one of the best running quarterbacks in the nation.
They didn't have that quarterback. Haynes, he would have gotten lit up too. He wouldn't have been
I don't
exempt.
disagree. Hey, I don't deal in hypotheticals. I deal in the real
I'll
world.
agree. I'll agree.
In the real world,
the game would have been different.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about in the trenches. Remove all the skill positions.
I agree.
In the trenches, they usually impose their will on teams.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Notre Dame was the only team this year that they weren't able to do it.
Absolutely.
They weren't able to do
it.
So,
they weren't able to do it against the Wolfpack either. It's just that we decided to go prevent.
Hey, congratulations. Congratulations on finding your quarterback, though.
Hey, yeah, man.
Congratulations on finding your quarterback.
You feel
Congratulations.
No more one-year rentals. No more one-year rentals for me. You know what I mean? No more. But
I sent you flowers. Condolences on the loss of Concepcion, though.
Hey, listen.
To the portal.
You know what? you know what? I'm gonna tell you this: if there was any group for the Wolfpack that could take that loss, it's their receivers by a mile. By a mile.
Mhm.
I mean, you've got to me, you've got one of the baddest group of receivers. I probably say the most underrated, definitely in the ACC, but potentially in the country, because people don't really give them the love that they deserve, despite the fact that they have everything that you would need besides maybe a true burner. Which, by the way, we're getting I believe it's a 10-4 or something like that. 100-meter dash guy in Paler coming soon. So we might to get the one thing that we lack. That's on the way too. But in all seriousness, I'm gonna say this: that you are absolutely right that game is going to be physical, JJ. But I will say this: I think that people aren't valuing how mentally tough Notre Dame has been, because Notre Dame.
That's a good
Notre
point.
Dame, in many regards, is the New York Yankees of college football. They're the Dallas Cowboys of college football. Every single thing that they do is under a different kind of magnifying lens, particularly the losses. Because the wins, nobody really acknowledged this. And I think this will be the difference. Playing both of those service academies when both of them are elite this year. Both of those service academies have shown up and shown out. And people will say, oh, Navy lost 4 games. Da, da, da. Okay, what about Army? 11-1. One loss being a 30-pointer to Notre Dame. And I'll tell you this. Exactly. Conference champion and everything. And so I look at this and I say, Notre Dame has had to play with some teams that are physical, that are going to leave you lumped up, bruised up, that are going to make you be disciplined and fill a gap exactly how it's supposed to be filled when it's supposed to be filled. With that in mind, I look at that and say, in a close game, I feel comfortable with that for Notre Dame. If anything, I would be worried about a blowout situation, because I'm not sure that Notre Dame has the ammunition to blow out Georgia. Do they have the ammunition to blow out IU? Yes, absolutely. That's definitely possible. That's not something that's out of the realm of possibility. IU is a team that offensively, they're dynamic. They show up. They're going to get it done. And they're a very disciplined team defensively. So IU is no slouch to look over. They're no slouch to look over. But if we're talking about just Georgia, I think in a close game, I'm comfortable with that for Notre Dame. I'm really comfortable with that for Notre Dame. And I would be more concerned about a track meet on grass, because how the hell did Georgia get in that track meet? Who the hell is passing the baton around? They've got nobody to do it. That would have me concerned. Where is Xavier Watts? Where are your guys? Where's the DBs? That would be more concerning to me than a knockout, drag-out slugfest on like, hey, somebody going to take a last punch and somebody ain't going to be standing no more. You know what I mean? Right. This is going to be a kneecap-biting game and somebody ain't going to be able to get up. That's, to me, I feel comfortable with Notre Dame in that time.
Hey, it's funny you say that track meet, because that's exactly what Lincoln Riley tried to do. He tried to turn that last game into a track meet and try to outpoint Notre Dame. He came up short with the 2 defensive plays by Christian Gray and Xavier Watts, Lucky Duffy podcast. Let's get into the Big Ten championship game and your thoughts on how that played out. Oregon, the only undefeated team. We thought we might go a season with 0 undefeated team. Oregon completes the task, winning the Big Ten championship. Just how dominant is Oregon? Or are they just the best of the bunch in the Big Ten? It's like they played Oregon. They ended up playing Penn State in the championship game. They played the top 2 teams and they came out on top. Do you think Oregon is your typical dominant team in any college football year, or do they have their flaws that you've seen in close wins over Ohio State and Penn State in particular?
I feel like they're beatable.
Okay.
I feel like they're don't get me wrong, they're damn good. And, you know, Dan Lanning has done an incredible job. But I still feel like they're beatable. Penn State was able to run the ball on them a bit. And I feel like even at times their offense can get like how Notre Dame gets, you know, have like their dry spells. And, you know, like again, if you can get a lead, if you can, you know, jump out on Oregon a little bit, I feel like okay, even Wisconsin, for example, take that Wisconsin game for example. If Wisconsin's able to score 21 points, they win that game. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, you got to execute against Oregon. I feel like, again, Oregon's an incredible team. They're incredible in terms of they got incredible athleticism. They're very, very tough up front, incredibly tough up front. But again, I just feel like if you execute, if you come out and play if we come out and play our brand of Notre Dame football, running the ball on them, even with our quarterback run, because I don't think they will have seen anything like that at all. Have they seen anything like that in the Big Ten? Not really.
I wouldn't say they've seen a running game like what Notre Dame can bring. No.
So again, I like our chances against anybody, for real. I really do. This playoff may not go as people may think.
I agree with that. There's some tricky matchups even in the first round.
I think it might be some crazy upsets in that first round. Like Clemson sitting at 12. K. Klubnik going to Texas, going home. That's going to be an incredible storyline.
Well, because I think Clemson can physically stop the run. See, for me, can Maffa get healthy? I know we'll get to the Maffa surgery. I mean, not surgery, but his shoulder, the lack of the run game to be able to complement and help Klubnik out, right? Because you saw they were very explosive early. Right. Then once SMU settled in, they were able to do the same thing Louisville did. They jumped out on Louisville. Louisville and Ron English settled in, and then they just dominated. Same thing with South Carolina. They jumped out, and once South Carolina settled in, they were physically able to dominate their offense. So I think if they can get out early on Texas and shut down that Texas run game, they do have the defensive backs.
Yes.
That can hang with the Texas wide receivers. So I agree with you, JJ. That's going to be and coaching. You have to respect Dabo and the coaching staff in big games. You have to.
9 ACC championships.
Yeah. I agree with that. So are we just really not at all impressed by what Penn State did last night?
No. Here's the thing. Oregon is I can't remember what movie. I believe it was Kingsman, where they said the chin of nobility is made soft by success. I think that's what Oregon is. I think that their chin was made soft by how many teams they could go to sleep against and still beat. Because if you look throughout this season, there are multiple games where you're like, what the hell are you doing? The fact that you were in a dogfight, in an everything like, hey, we have to scrape and fight and scrap and claw to get this win against the Idaho Vandals to start the season off. The fact that you then see Boise State and have to fight and scrap and claw against them. And granted, none of us knew quite what Jonty was going to be. None of us quite knew. But even still, you were not supposed to be in that much of a dogfight with that team. And that's what they do. Wisconsin, same thing. Fickle is a really good coach. I think he's a good coach. You shouldn't have been in a dogfight with Wisconsin. That just shouldn't have been the case. I think that they're just falling asleep. And look at the Penn State, look at the conference championship game. They got up 28-10. And then we're just like, all right, time to take our foot off the gas now. We're good. The haze in the bar. We'll go to sleep. And all of a sudden you look up and Penn State is right there. So, I really and truly think that Oregon is the most complete and consistent team. They've gotten better as the year has gone on. They've built and built and built. But with that in mind, they still have that habit of playing with their food. And I'm going to tell you, I learned something a long time ago that I'll never forget. You play with your food long enough, somebody else is going to eat it. That's Oregon's biggest problem. You can't play with your food against everybody. You can't sit up here. They've got as dynamic and as fast of a receiver room as anybody, but they're also physical. They also have a defense that those defensive backs can take the ball away at a very high clip. I'm a little concerned about their pass rush. Not gonna lie to you. I think that what they've actually produced does not match up with the talent in that room. But I think that they can take the ball away at a high level. And when it comes to stopping the run, again, that's a Dan Lanning coach team. You could tell he's from that Kirby Smart tree because they can stop the run. They can stop the run with the best of them. So I look at this and I say to myself, am I impressed by what Penn State did? A little in keeping it close, because when they got down 18, they could have rolled over and said, all right, that's it. Y'all got us. But to me, I mean, it still is what it is. James Franklin is still James Franklin. And to quote one Sean Carter, the poet and philosopher, you could try to change, but that's just the top layer. Homie, you was who you was when you got here.
Got there.
And this is just who Penn State is. They're always going to be the bridesmaid. They're always going to be, almost. We almost had them. Happy Valley is always going to be happy until they play a good team. And that's what we're seeing.
And the crazy thing is, you probably lose both of those running backs this year. I just like this. This is the last hurrah with those two running backs as they go on to matriculate to the NFL. So
absolutely,
we don't have to talk about Arizona State because that game was over after the first quarter. But shout out to Arizona State in the season they've had, because 3 weeks ago, nobody even thought about them, let alone winning the Big 12, but then winning the championship and making it to the CFP.
They were projected last.
Yes. But your neck of the woods, once again, Ken Gibbs from Locked On College Football Live, Locked On ACC, and Locked On Wolfpack, that ACC championship game, I'm going to be honest with you. The only game that I've watched in its entirety with SMU was SMU BYU. And that was burned into my memory. Right. So even as I watched SMU win games, I was kind of like, nah, I watched them against BYU. And then last night, for the first time, I got a chance to watch them again. And immediately I was texting with my guys from IB, and I was like, yo, they're making some mistakes early, but you can see they're explosive. Like they're a problem, bro. And Jennings is a problem. So and I wasn't shocked when they came back. I really wasn't. I wasn't shocked when they came back. I'm impressed by SMU, and I think they deserve to get in.
For sure. And honestly, I understand Pitt's no longer ranked right now, but when they played Pitt was top what? They were
top 15 to 20.
Yeah. They were top. They were in the way they dominated Pitt in that first half. Because honestly, I had Pitt winning that game. Yeah, I thought Pitt was the more physical team going into that game, and SMU took that over by a mile. Like Pitt couldn't do nothing on offense, run the ball nor pass it, and then offensively, SMU was doing whatever they wanted.
Yep. I look at this game and I say to myself, I'm glad the nation got to see SMU in somewhat of a higher standpoint, because Sean, you're absolutely right. That game against BYU is what most of the nation saw. That's what most of the nation saw. And BYU did what? Out physical them. They said, hey, we're gonna have a dog fight. We're gonna have a trench fight tonight. We're gonna, we may not drink alcohol, but I'll tell you what, somebody's gonna be punch drunk walking out of here. I'll tell you, BYU is some interesting folks. I'll just tell you that in terms of
the Mormons are different.
Hey, listen.
The Mormons are different.
Listen, some of those videos are like, what's your favorite party drink? Milk. What? Babes, I'm lactose intolerant. The party gonna stink. Why would we do that? Who gets poop in here? Why would we do that? What type of nonsense? I'm ruining the party here. But in all seriousness, that team they addressed their needs in the trenches in the portal in such a meaningful way, because Rhett Lashley has surrounded himself with very wise counsel. And he sought counsel from a lot of coaches who went through that exact same thing. He talked to Gus Malzahn and said, what's the biggest difference? What did you need to change? He talked to so many coaches who came before him and had that similar kind of jump situation. And all of them said the same thing: beef up in the trenches. You're fine everywhere else, beef up in the trenches. And that's what they did. And so you can see it. I like to call them Miami West because they have, I believe it's 8 or 9 former Hurricanes that are playing really big time.
Nine former Miami players,
9 former Miami players, most of them playing in majorly contributing roles. They're leading rusher in Brashard Smith. They're leading sackman and all that type of stuff. They got multiple Miami guys over there that are playing good ball. But more important than anything, I needed the country to see them firing at that clip. By the way, SMU in terms of turnover margin, one of the best in the nation, even with a 6 turnover game. They are one of the teams in the nation that do a fantastic job of turning other teams over, taking care of the ball. What was their turnover margin in the ACC championship? -2. That told the story of the game. Because when they came charging back, that was SMU football. That was who they had been all year long. They were balanced. They had SMU on their heels. They had them boys off back. They came with everything that we had seen all season. If you paid attention to ACC football, the problem is they dug themselves into a hole against a very talented team. And of course, the penalties didn't help, but that's who they've been all year. So that part of it, I'm like, hey, SMU is going to play a little while. They're going to play on the edge. They're going to have those moments where, some people are saying, oh, my God, a boneheaded penalty. How could they do that? It's SMU. That's who they are. So with that being said, if SMU takes care of the ball against Penn State, I see SMU winning that game. And I will guarantee you this. The winner of the turnover margin wins that football game in terms of SMU and Penn State. I don't care if it's -1. Whichever team wins that turnover margin is going to win that game. Because don't get me wrong, love Singletary, love that backfield duo they got in Penn State. And Drew Aller is meh to me. I think he's a what Steve Smith would call a jag, just a guy. I don't think he's a quarterback that you win because of. I also don't think he's a guy you win in spite of. I don't think he's a guy that you're like, Jesus Christ, Drew, please just don't throw us out the game and we'll be fine. He's a quarterback you win with. Make a couple plays here and there, we'll be fine. That defense is something special. I think their defensive front, really good. I think that linebacking core, again, got to love the King brother. I always going to shout out the Cat Stat guy. With that being said, I look at that game and I say to myself, this game is going to hinge on somebody making a big play, somebody making a field-flipping play. Because SMU is going to make those ball-headed penalties, and Penn State's going to have those offensive droughts that they always have in big games. The moment is going to be about who takes care of the ball in a meaningful way.
All right, let's go ahead and look at the bracket, guys. Let's check it out, man. Let's see what's up with this bracket. What stood out to you the most from this bracket as we look? Notre Dame, of course, sitting there, 7-10 matchup. You see the top 4 seeds, Oregon number 1. You have Georgia number 2, Boise State number 3, Arizona State number 4. Do you guys have any issues with the top 4 seeds that got buys?
No, I mean, yeah, you can't. Oh, go ahead, JJ.
No, I was just saying that was literally the criteria from the beginning of the season when they introduced the format, the 4 highest conference champions. So, once they said that, we knew that Notre Dame can't be no higher than 5. We knew that it was never going to be, you can put, your Texas or your Penn State in there, but, they're not conference champions. It's simple. The 4 highest conference champions. The conference championship needs to have importance in these games, in these seedings. So, I respect it.
And I think most Notre Dame fans, go ahead, KG. I'm sorry.
Is it not just like what we thought it would be at the beginning of the season? Oregon, Georgia, Arizona State, and Boise State. We all see Arizona State and Boise State being right there. But no, in all seriousness, I think this is why I'm so serious about play the games and let the games decide. Because, again, we love to talk. And this is my biggest problem with a lot of SEC pundits and a lot of these national talking heads right now. And why, again, my grandmother, I love her very dearly, but I am not in the room for those important conversations. I am not on ESPN because at some point in time, the actual games have to matter. And for the first 4 seeds, they did. They did. You could not, there was no way under, over, around. Are you a conference champion? Are you one of the 4 highest ranked? And that's why you got an Arizona State team that each team, and I mean this very genuinely, how many teams in this playoff, if Arizona State played them right now, Arizona State would be favored?
No. I was about to say maybe SMU, but no. Maybe Indiana?
Nah.
That's 2-1 loss. They're 2-1 loss teams. Maybe.
Let me be extremely generous. Let me be extremely generous right now to Arizona State. I'll give you Boise State. I'll give you IU. I'll give you SMU. Hell, I'll even throw in the Clemson in there to get cute.
I don't think either of the ACC teams they would be favored over.
I agree, but I'm just saying, just for kicks and giggles, right? And yet they're what seed? The 4th with a guaranteed bye. Because at the end of the day, when the criteria is consistent and when the games matter, well, would you look at that? Look who's in that slot. You know, that's all I'm saying there. So I think that the bracket in terms of the first 4, they got it right because they had to. There was no alternative. There was no ambiguity. It's either they're in the words of Yoda, there is only do or do not. There is no try. That's what we saw here. There was either do you fit the criteria or do you not with these top 4? And I think the committee definitely honored their word and got it right.
JJ, you feel the same way?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Because you know that is the criteria, and then even when after they announced the seeds, who's the Michigan AD? He was even explaining it. He said, "Our job, we're not like when we're figuring out who the 12 best teams are. Our job, we're not figuring out who's going to be seated where on that criteria. It's who are the top 12 teams in the rankings right now. Rankings.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about seeding." So yeah,
Right.
even because you know Arizona State was what they finished 10th,
I believe so.
Yeah, 10th or 11th. So like yeah, they're not the 4 best teams just because they got that first round bye. They just got that 4th spot because
conference champions. Yeah,
and I think and I think that's fair because you know if a team like again it gives opportunity to a team like Boise State. Remember the year Boise State when they had Ian
Johnson and Jared
Ian Johnson.
Yeah.
Remember that.
That there was a case that they should have been in the national championship.
The national championship game, yeah.
Yeah. And they couldn't beat Oklahoma. They couldn't beat the mighty powerhouse that was the Oklahoma Sooners at that time.
Exactly.
Surely they couldn't.
Think they pulled it off. Yeah.
So like it again, it's good for college football. It needs to be more than just let's just give favor to the SEC schools and make it like one big slugfest. No, you got to allow all. This is a college football landscape. This isn't just the SEC and the Big Ten ball. No, you got to allow for the group of 5s to get in. You got to allow for a 2-loss SMU that even though they haven't really played anybody that's ranked right now currently, but they can't help their schedule.
Exactly.
They went to the ACC with hopes of getting into the playoff.
Exactly. Same with IU. Same with IU. They can't help that teams that were supposed to be good turned out to be buns.
Exactly.
Who knew Jaden Davis threw the ball like a pitcher? Who knew that? Who knew? That boy got the YI auto release. Who knew that? You couldn't have predicted that. Who knew that them boys weren't going to be able to complete a forward pass? So it is what it is. Who knew that Washington was going to fall off a cliff after losing DeBoer and Penix? Like, those guys are nowhere near the same team. All IU could do is play who was on the schedule. And who was on the schedule? The 2 defending teams that were in the national championship the year before. If winning that is not enough, then at that point you're telling teams it's about you having the luck of the draw of everybody else you play being good, which is like, what type of meritocracy is that? It's about what you do. I can't produce nothing more than beating the teams that are in front of me. What do you want? What do you want from me? So, I'm glad that IU got this shot. And I will say this. Ward Manuel know he a lie. He know he a lie and ain't no truth in him. Oh, I don't care about where anybody is seated. That's so interesting. That's so fascinating because I think it's really interesting how Texas got a home game, and we know how DKR gets and how much their capacity is as opposed to Death Valley. Doesn't DKR have a substantially bigger capacity?
Yeah.
And it's Texas and Indiana and Notre Dame. Interesting how that worked out, isn't it? what would have been the difference per se in sliding Penn State down a few? Because again, the argument that they ain't beat nobody, Penn State's only ranked win is who? Illinois? I mean, what are we really doing here?
That was a close game for the majority of the game.
But you get my point here. You know, everybody keeps saying SMU hadn't beaten anybody. These teams ain't beating anybody. Who the hell have some of these other teams beat? But here we are with two teams from the state of Indiana, which, by the way, with all due respect to IU fans, I think that they would probably travel the worst out of all these fan bases. And somehow they end up in Indiana still. Peculiar how that works. Peculiar, Ward.
KG, are you saying that it's quite possible that the main reason to expand the playoffs was strictly for revenue and money? Well, because fans really think, oh man, this was all about equality.
Yeah.
Giving everybody a fair opportunity. The Big Ten and the SEC held meetings for 2 days this summer trying to get 4 spots guaranteed for each conference. They don't care about everybody else. They know they're the most dominant conferences, and they want to dominate the playoffs. They don't care about equity. This expansion was never about being equitable. It was never about being equitable.
No, it was about having, you know, I mean, we all knew what this was about. Anybody with common sense knew what this was about. Now, if you did believe this was about equity, I have oceanfront property in Detroit, Michigan. Don't ask me what ocean it's off of. Just pay me the money first, and I'll get you the property. But in all seriousness, I look at the playoff and I say to myself, I mean, we all knew what this was about. The only thing is whether or not your team is on the plus side or not. That's the biggest thing. And that is why I say all of the group of 5 and the Big 12 and the ACC, they all need to band together and tell the Big 10 and the SEC, hey, we're getting rid of the old committee. We're doing this strictly based on computers, and their rankings will not come out till week 5, and it'll have nothing to do with preseason rankings or whatever, because the ACC has seen firsthand, did we not? Florida State, oh, they're coming off of a year they were snubbed for a national championship shot. Oh, man, I'll tell you. But, you know, they got a really good transfer quarterback in DJU. They're bringing back multiple running backs from that team. They're bringing back multiple defensive backs from that team. Oh, they're bringing back multiple linebackers from that team. Well, what the hell happened? The only team they beat in the ACC this year was Cal. And we all know that was they say Cal is socialist and whatnot, so they had to equally distribute the wins. That's all that Cal was doing there. That's all that was. They said from each according to ability to each according to need, and they just thought that Florida State needed a win. So that's all that was. But in all seriousness, let that be an example. Let Michigan be an example. Let multiple teams this year be an example. And we have these teams every year, by the way. Do we not have multiple, if not at least one top 10 team every year? They start off preseason top 10, and they turn out, oh, look at that. Them boys didn't piss a lick this year. So whoever beats them first and second, all of a sudden, they get these massive bumps and these massive boosts in terms of, look, they're a good team because they beat this team. And it turns out that team is just frauds all along. And that's all it is. Every conference has them. It's just different levels. I don't think we've ever seen one to the degree of Florida State. I don't think we've ever seen a team I was picked top 10 to go like 2-3 wins. I don't think we've ever seen that before. But we see that to a lesser extent every year. We saw Michigan this year. We'll see somebody next year that's the top team. So if I'm these smaller conferences, I band together and I say, listen, y'all want all these damn auto bids, go earn it. We want to make this purely computer-based. So that way it incentivizes strength of schedule. It incentivizes y'all playing tougher games. But it removes the fact that, with all due respect to most of our friends in the media, they're not doing the legwork. They're not watching the film. They're just not. I heard somebody recently say, Preston Stone has this SMU team playing really good ball. What the hell are you talking about? Kevin Jennings been starting for 10 weeks. He's been starting for 10 weeks.
He took over against BYU, didn't he?
But because they're not doing the knowledge, they're not actually watching the game, They just have a vote. They're voting how they want to vote. So again, I don't think that there should be this thing of the national media and even the coaches to some extent, because while you're watching film as a coach, let's be honest, how the hell are you going to watch everybody in the country's film when you're preparing for a game next week?
Yeah.
Come on, dog. Come on. You watching your opponent. That's what you're doing, and that's okay. But, I just think that needs to be acknowledged and taken away from, hey, the playoff is a separate thing. It's a separate entity, and we need to make it clear that whatever the media thinks about you has nothing to do with who you are on the field.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that. I think that would be an adjustment they need to make moving forward. But I think that's something that, as we looked at the brackets, I think the biggest qualm that Notre Dame fans had was the fact that they were the 7th seed. I guess there were dreams with the run that Notre Dame went on, and the fact that they were as dominant as they were. And as you pointed out, the rate they had, that's the best since 1993, being over 20. I think that in itself gave hope to Notre Dame fans that they would get that number 5 seed, but things had to fall right in the championship games, and they just didn't fall right. And it is a blessing after that awful loss, because Notre Dame fans, you can say it was one loss. It was an awful loss. It wasn't just a loss. It was an awful loss.
That had at least half of the lucky lefty pod jumping ship. At least half. What do I know? What do I know? I remember somebody that was a guest on the pod said there's still a path to this team to the playoff. I mean, Riley ain't look good, but there's still a path. And I was told, there's no way. There's no way. And lo and behold, where there's a will, there's a what, Sean?
There's a way.
There's a way.
Yeah.
There's a way.
There's a way that seemeth right.
Hey,
but
now.
The end thereof is destruction. And,
Hey,
Notre Dame need go this way. They need go this path through a difficult loss against Northern Illinois, and we saw the true character of this team. Hey, I'm with you.
I'll never get over that, because when I was losing,
no, is it that you can't get over the loss or what was said after the loss? Because that was your biggest issue.
No, just like what happened, because my fiance, she didn't understand who we had lost to.
Mm-hmm.
So I was explaining to her, I'm like, yo, this ain't just a loss. He lost to NIU. So when I told her, because she was like, what is it about NIU? I was like, babe, they're in the same conference as Buffalo. Oh.
and not only that, they didn't even win the joint. I believe it was what?
They lost to Buffalo the next week.
They lost to Buffalo the next week. Yeah.
So now I got a couple things in the UB team that's telling me we're better than Notre Dame. I was like,
look, the way Notre Dame responded showed their mental toughness. I think it really proved what Marcus Freeman has built, and I think it proved that this is finally Marcus Freeman's program.
Right.
There was no leftover residue from the
doubt.
Previous regime. Now it is fully his program, and I think that's what you saw after that Northern Illinois loss. And so now, look, it is something that you can be upset about with them not getting the 6th seed or possibly the 5th seed. But man, it is a blessing, because I don't think anybody really truly felt at that point in time, yeah, we're going to get a home playoff game. Not after that Northern Illinois loss. We were just hoping that we could get in the thing. Let's keep it a buck. As long as we can get in there, we're fine. And then as the season went on, then we started having hope for that home playoff game. But we knew that things had to fall right, because once again, this is about revenue and money for who? The 2 big dogs in this conference layout. That's why you have a clown like James Franklin talking about everybody needs to be in a conference championship and playing conference. Like, dude, shut up. Mind your business. Your school didn't have enough in the pocket to stay independent. You were dependent on somebody else. You needed somebody else. You don't have the pockets. You don't have the reserves. You don't have the deep wells that exist in South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame, Indiana. So get over it. Get over it. There's a reason why you had to go to a conference. You don't have it like that. And you ain't got a lot to kick it, my dude. You ain't got a lot. You don't have a lot to kick it. Just mind your own. Big bank take little bank. That's what that's all about. Notre Dame can afford to say, screw everybody. we'll see y'all in the CFP with a home playoff game. Nobody else can do that on their own. Who else can do it? Only the Yankees. Only the Yankees of college football. Only the Dallas Cowboys of college football.
If I was James Franklin, I wouldn't let you talk to me like that.
I'm just saying.
If I was James Franklin, I gotta take a trip. I gotta take a trip. I gotta take a trip to Chicago. Me and you gotta have a conversation. Because it's one thing for you to call me bro. It's another thing for you to call me broke in front of America. That's crazy. There's a little insane. It's a little unhinged. But I get it. I ain't mad at you. I'm gonna just tell you this.
Clowns. Why, dude? Why are you talking about us? You need to figure out how you're gonna handle SMU. Figure that out. Don't worry about Notre Dame. Don't worry about us. Just make sure you don't lose at the crib. Just make sure of that. Marcus Freeman is good over here because NFL teams are coming after him. Who's calling you?
Yikes.
That's what I thought.
Do you think he goes to Ohio State if Ryan Day gets fired?
Oh, come on.
Marcus,
Ohio State would never.
Don't open that conversation.
Marcus.
JJ, don't open that conversation because you know it's a phone call he would have to take. Come on now. It's a phone call he would have to take. But dude, we're not even thinking about that.
Let me tell you something.
I mean, if Ryan Day loses in that first, if he loses, it's a possibility. You know it is.
Let me tell you something. Losing to Michigan 4 years straight and potentially losing in the first round, I'll tell you what, they're going to hit up Marcus Freeman immediately. Hey, brother, whatever check those Catholics are giving you, we'll double it. Joel Osteen is a Protestant. We got Protestant money over here. It's a little different. You tell us what you need. We'll take care of it.
Well, you are stupid. That $37 million, what is that, 37 is his buyout, though?
I mean, listen, I hear you. Ohio State would be willing. You
think so?
If
they pay $25 million for their roster?
For that roster, yeah.
Don't pay for that coach.
Yeah. And the reality is this: $25 million for a first round exit too? Oh no.
That's nasty work. That's nasty work.
And think of all the factors now. We got to stack it on top of each other. You know what I mean? It's like when you playing a little role-playing video game and you building your character up, you add up all the stuff to stack on top of each other. $20 million on the roster. No Big Ten championship appearance. Forget the win. You didn't even go. First round exit on top of that? Oh, man. Hey, Ryan, it's been real. It's been fun. We're firing you, and we're taking away your supply of Just for Men's. No more Cocoa Midnight Bean on that beard of yours. Go ahead and get out of here. You're done. We'll see you later. Take your weird Beijing beard out of here.
Not your Beijing.
Get your Beijing beard out of here. He's the only white man I know who uses Beijing. It looks a little weird. Get on out of here, Ryan. We've had enough. Okay? I'm not saying that Freeman would be the guy, but they're not going to be if Day has an exit after, because I don't think anybody spent nearly $20 million. I don't think anybody's come close except maybe Tennessee. No. I know Tennessee paid $8 for Nico.
For the quarterback, right.
And you know they had to pay something to keep Pierce there because Pierce would have been a first rounder last year. So they had to pay him some real deal money to keep him and most of that defensive line intact. Listen, all I'm saying, Ryan Day, all that, I've won 70% of my games. I've done I've been to the playoff. You can do that in Minnesota. Hey, go ahead. Go on. Row the boat with PJ Fleck in it. Because we're good. We're good.
And to JJ, you can talk to this because we have a get to the bag question right here from my guy, Mr. Food Lover. Notre Dame is huge on extended contracts. If MF wins 2 playoff games, will he get a big extension? I think outside of just winning and making a run in the playoffs, JJ can speak to this because he just brought off the fact that, what do you do if Ryan Day is let go? Notre Dame has to think about that. They have to look at how this landscape they have to anticipate. And they might want to jump in front of, even if they do it quietly, jump in front of, things and say, hey, we got you. Don't even worry about it. We got you. And so that's something they need to think about, in my humble opinion, when it comes to Marcus Freeman and that contract extension. Because there were rumors that it was happening early in the season. I think JJ froze.
I was
But
about to say we lost JJ.
yeah, because that smile and smirk he had on was hilarious. But
nasty work.
Hopefully, hopefully it comes back. But yeah, I would from a business
you have to
side.
extend him. You have to extend him.
Yeah, because he gave when he was asked about it in the presser today, he gave a very nondescript non-answer to, like, he didn't even answer the question. It was just like, whatever is happening doesn't distract me. I'm paraphrasing. Whatever has happened is not distracting me from the task at hand. And I'm like, okay.
Let me ask you this. Let's go for kicks and giggles, right?
Okay.
For kicks and giggles. If Freeman wins 2 games in the playoff, does his value go up or does it go down? Does Freeman stock go up or down? So if you are saying that his stock will go up, but I'm not going to pay him, what you're doing is you're shorting that stock, in essence. What you're saying is you're betting against hope. Hey, I don't believe that you can be successful here, so I'm going to go ahead and undercut you. Because if you decide to not pay him by the end of it, just for kicks and giggles, not even saying Notre Dame wins it at it. Because if they win it at it, you got to give them a blank check. You got to say, hey, whatever you want, who's the last thing?
Every coach that's won a title has a statue around the stadium. So he gets a check and a stadium, a statue in the future.
I believe the last coach to win one there was Lou Holtz. Am I incorrect?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And last time we saw Lou Holtz, he could barely keep his dentures in his mouth, with all due respect.
Hey, slow up, man. Slow up.
Listen,
we love Coach Lou here,
I was just about to say, this is all respect to Coach Holtz. That man he's older, right? We can agree to that.
Yes.
So that means it's been a while since Notre Dame has won one. And that's, again, let me tell you something. You talk about y'all respecting Lou Holtz. Y'all got coaches who have won y'all national championships before. NC State, we have never had a coach take us undefeated before Lou Holtz. Haven't had one since. So trust me, when you talk about loving Lou Holtz, my God, that's my God. With that in mind, you cannot say, hey, this guy, we believe, has the team on an upward trajectory from already being a top 10 program, and we're going to wait to pay him. If you think it's expensive now, his agents are going to walk in with that video of Fat Joe playing on their phone, and they're just going to hit their screen. Yesterday's price is not today's price. After he won 2, the NIU price, the post-NIU price is different from, hey, did Georgia win 2 of the last 4 national championships? Oh, why don't they have 3 of them? Who took them out? Oh, we did? Interesting. That Sid guy right down the street, they love him a lot in Indiana. Who took that guy out of the playoffs? Oh, I did? Little old me? Well, it seems to me that I'm owed a little something. Seems to me like some change needs to be jingling. Some ducats need to be dropped off. And if Ohio State gets rid of Day, that bidding war, the bags that will be dropped. So it's better to me if I'm Notre Dame.
That's going to be called a sweepstakes.
And that's what I'm saying.
That's JJ. You had dropped off. That's why I said, lock him up quietly now. Just let him know now. You good. We got you.
And listen, I wouldn't even say quietly. I would say do it loudly. Bring him into a room, lock the door, and don't let him leave until a number is signed. Don't let him out. Hey.
But I'm saying don't announce it. I wouldn't announce it until after the playoff run. You can get it done.
Yeah, I agree.
You can get it done, but it's not public. I definitely think,
that's what I'm saying. Give him whatever you think you would have to pay if he won 2 playoff games. Give him 75 to 80% of that. Right.
And you can't hide the money. You can't hide in the shell companies because you got a $1 billion project going up on campus right now.
Yes.
So the money is already being shown.
Yeah.
It's obvious you're spending.
Yep.
So, but JJ,
hey, listen, you wait. Look on JJ face. You wait if you want to.
That's that JJ experience. Look like, man, y'all don't know Notre Dame like that.
Hey, listen, you wait if you want to. You wait if you want to, and you're going to get that all about the Benjamin. $50 million, I'll be crazy as I want to be. That's what you're going to do.
I'll tell you one about that school, man. My 4 years of being there, there has never been not one time they weren't doing construction on something on that campus. They weren't building something.
That's fair.
What's this? New dorms? What?
Hey, listen. Jay Lamar said they're crunching the numbers. No. The numbers need to be crunched with an ED. Done. They need to be done. Okay? Yeah. It's like when you talk about, after I married my wife, I built trust in her. What? No, buddy. That trust needs to be there by the time you get to the aisle.
Yeah.
Notre Dame needs to go ahead and crunch those numbers. Make it done. Make it, hey, Marcus, here's the number. What you thinking? Because we, whatever the Bears got going on, if they think about them, whatever you're thinking about, and I'm gonna tell you,
I will not allow that to happen.
And here's
him as the NFL guy though.
Well,
I would block that. I will personally go to South Bend and say, Coach Free, I love you too much. Don't come up. Do not step into that building. It literally, you will be hexed. A curse will be spelled upon. Dude, don't step in that building. Everyone that goes into that building, players and coaches and administration, their careers are over.
Here's the other part that we not even consider.
Bad place.
If we are looking at them potentially waiting even beyond the playoff, right? Let's say for kicks and giggles, there's a upset by IU here, right? Mm-hmm. There's an upset by IU, and they're like, hey, we like you, we don't love you. You haven't done enough for us to love you. Okay. If you're talking about him in the NFL cycle for this upcoming cycle, Ben Johnson is in that cycle.
Tell Ben Johnson, don't come this way. Tell him to stay off 94.
Hey, let me tell you something. I love me some Ben Johnson. I love his trick plays. He said the well runs deep. Next thing you know, they have Penei Sewell attempted to pass. I said, all right, let's not go as deep in the well. Let's get the water on the top.
That jet sweep to Penei Sewell was nasty.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But this is where I'm going here. Ben Johnson is going to redefine what new coaches are getting paid. He's going to, whatever team gets him, they're going to have to pay him some money that is so insane. Because from what I've heard around the line, is Sheila Ford said, whatever y'all need. Dan, whatever you need. Ben, whatever you need. AG, whatever you need to stay and keep this thing, it's done. Okay? Now, I want you to think about that now. That this is an heir to the man who commercialized the assembly line, saying whatever you do need. And he's still thinking about leaving. If you let Freeman wait around until that's up, and now there are NFL teams saying, hey, listen, we'll offer you 70% of what Ben Johnson makes, 60% of what Ben Johnson makes. Come on. That's crazy. That's going to be crazy money that Notre Dame going to be looking at competing with. So, again, if I'm Notre Dame, hey, come on in here, man. Come on in here, Marcus. Come on. Bring your agent, and you and your agent, we going to sit down, and we going to iron this out. I know you got to get back to game plan, and I get it. I use a very important team. They're doing their thing for the first time in forever. Yay. Come sit down in this room. And when you leave here, you will be Notre Dame's coach through 2030. How about that? Come on, lock you in some job security, lock you in everything you need. Whatever you do need, okay? Whatever is on your mind, you throw it in there, and we'll take care of it for you.
Lucky Lefty Podcast. So when we come back, we'll give our early predictions as we look at the brackets to see who we think is actually going to make it through things. And we all reserve the right to second guess ourselves right before the kickoff of the first round on December the 20th. But we'll be right back. Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know we spin it different.
What's up, family? The merch shop is finally here. Lucky Lefty Network merch shop. We got it all. From the shirts to the hoodies to the hats to the nitty gritties. Come here right now. Shop with us. Come get the swag because if anything else, we spin it different. You see the gritty. You see how we get down. It's elite.
Podcast. Hey, that's joining us. Thank you so much for giving us a piece of your time here on this Sunday night, talking CF playoff. The 12-team expanded playoff. The rankings, the seedings are out. Notre Dame, 7th seed, taking on the 10th seed Indiana Hoosiers, December 20th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Prime time. It's only right that some snowflakes fall. It's only right. It's December 20th, playoff football, Notre Dame Stadium. As Notre Dame is like expanding the lead late in the second half and just seeing like snowflakes falling. And it's just poetic. It's poetic justice. Lucky Lefty Podcast, we spin it different. Jerron Jones and our guy, Getting Gibbs from Locked On. He's just Mr. Locked On. I'm just starting calling him Mr. Locked On because he does everything over there, bro. It's like, yeah, like 5-6 jobs. You're the true Jamaican, true essence of the Jamaican of Locked On, bro. You got like 5, 6, 7 jobs. You on mute? You muted yourself.
See, it was the Steve Angeli lobby still trying to mute me for my correct.
That's what we doing.
They came back and tried to mute me, but it's all right. What I was saying was, I don't even know where my people from, but Detroit hustle harder, baby. This is how we do it. You got to get it in. And like I said, my grandmother still believes that like I'm like on ESPN or something, and the committee listens to me. And if they are listening, listen to Lucky Lefty Podcast, because again, they spin it different, but they know what they talk about for the most part. Besides when Malik Zaire get on here and start talking crazy, because in the words of Kitchen Mark, what they talk about, they talk about. He ain't talking about that. He ain't talking about that. That's why he ain't here today. Because he know as soon as he hopped over here.
But you know what, to be honest. Let's be honest. You know what left a JJ
from me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But JJ, you know left. Left is just left.
He just like to stir the pot.
He stirs the pot, number one. And number two, he's literally. Somebody asked me this week, like, does Left really? Does he like Notre Dame? And I'm like, dude, no one goes harder for these dudes than Malik Zaire. He will say the credit. Dude, Left said last week, he said, if we play Georgia, this is what he said. So you can mention it the next time you're on with him, KG. He literally said he said, if Notre Dame plays Georgia, we're scoring 31 points.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting because I was. Oh, go ahead.
I said, Left. I said, I'm all for Notre Dame beating Georgia. I have no problem standing on that. I feel like Notre Dame can beat Georgia.
Absolutely.
I said, but to do it with a route of them having to score 31 points, I said the defense has to put up at least 7 of those. At least 7.
If Notre Dame is to make it to play Georgia, that game will be a race to maybe 21. Maybe. I think that's going to be a race to 21. Whoever gets there is very likely going to win the game. I don't see either team's offense being prolific enough against the two defenses that are going to be playing. Listen, with all due respect to Texas, they don't got a Morrison walking through that door. They don't got Xavier Watts walking through that door. You know what I mean? As much as I talk about Xavier Watts stealing, because that's what it was, even though he didn't do it. He didn't do it.
Hey,
Peyton Wilson was
your boy's balling for the Steelers, though. Your boy's balling for the Steelers. I tried to get him in Chicago. They wouldn't listen to me, KG.
Who could have guessed that? Who could have said that kid would play well?
It was all about his health. You know it was all about his health. That's why he dipped in the draft.
Of course it is. But I'm gonna tell you what. I don't understand this whole he doesn't have an ACL thing. If he didn't have ACLs last year and you saw what he did. That young man was breaking records with no ACL.
Yeah. X just happened to be the better player.
Oh, stop it. Oh, here we go.
Listen, you're just bitter. You're still bitter.
All I'm going to say is this.
And Nagurski resides in South Bend. Let it go.
One of those two guys needed a Fox special to get the award. The other guy didn't even need ACLs to be in it. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Now you're jealous. You're jealous because of the brand he plays for. You just said that the Dallas.
I'm jealous. This is like Jay-Z being like, "Are you jealous? I'm dating Beyonce and got $1 billion." Yes, Sean. Yes, we're all jealous of you. Oh, my wife loves me. She takes time from her tour to come see me. I'm still trying to get matches on Hinge. Yes, I'm jealous, Sean. What do you mean? Of course. Okay. My landlord's still knocking on the first, asking for rent. I'm jealous. I'm very jealous of Notre Dame. What are we doing? No, you guys got to play like
You know what?
champions.
At least,
you got all those banners.
at least you are honest about it. At least
absolutely.
you're honest.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. I am absolutely. There are certain programs in college football. You're a liar if you're not jealous of them or if you don't hate them, right? Like if you are not Michigan, if you're not USC, if you're not Miami, if you're not Alabama, those types of things, you're damn right. You're going to be jealous of them. That's what it is. That's just what it is. You're going to want to be those teams. You're going to want their success. You're going to envy the success that they've had. You talk about generations of great players. I mean, just how far can you go back in terms of great players from Notre Dame? How far can you go back in terms of champions from Notre Dame? Like, you know what I mean? So, of course I'm jealous that brand pushes guys forward for awards. Of course I'm jealous of that. Of course. Anybody who doesn't admit it, again, they're a liar. I hate UNC. That's a different thing. I'm not jealous of them. I don't want to be those.
Talking about the dirty feet school, as you call it.
Absolutely. I don't know nobody else that's walking around barefoot but don't know how to fight. That's crazy. Why do you have a dirty foot on the side of your helmet if when it's time to fight, you fight like you were the kids that would call their lawyer? Oh, my papa is going to call our family lawyer. We don't do all this fighting. You get your filthy redneck flag off our field, sir. That's what they fought like. That's what them boys fought like. I'm just saying, JJ, I don't know if they got a coaching opportunity open on that staff, but it seemed like they need a squabble coach down there to help them out so that, when it's time to do all that nonsense, they done lost 2 fights straight to NC State. And I'm just saying, if you can't win on the field, at least win in the parking lot, for Christ's sake. When I played at Cass Tech, I ain't going to lie and say we had a bunch of brawlers on that squad. I ain't going to lie. In certain schools, if we would have entered a dark alley, they would have entered a dark alley with it. They would have whooped the wheels off. But
so if it was you all against King, it would have been.
Don't play like that. Hey, don't play like that. King fake tough. They ain't tough for real. They ain't tough for real. King is not the school that I'm thinking about when I say that. A Southeastern, however, hey.
Okay. Shout out to Jalen Rose.
Hey, young man. Jalen Rose went to Southwestern. Jalen Rose went to Southwestern, which is now Western. But I'm going to tell you, you see the boys from 30-30? Hey, we all good Christians. We pray a lot. What are we doing? What are we doing all this fight? What are we doing? Come on. Them guys, them Crusaders, what's going on? What's the problem? What we got to get into? But we can at least beat them on the field.
So let's get back to it. I'm gonna bring the brackets back up, and I'm gonna have you guys, JJ, go through your bracket and let me know. Give me your picks to win the first and second round. So Ohio State, Tennessee. Who do you have, JJ? I think you muted yourself. Let me see. But I think you said Ohio State.
Ohio State.
You got Ohio State, and they'll take on the rematch. Oregon against Ohio State. Who would you have advancing from that matchup into the semis?
Ohio State.
Okay, so you got Ohio State in the semis. JJ, Texas, and Clemson. Who you got?
Texas.
So Texas will be taking on Arizona State, 4-5 matchup in the quarterfinals, and you have, I'm going to assume, the Longhorns defeating Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Oh, you take the upset. Okay. So your semifinal is Ohio State against Arizona State, harkening back to that classic Rose Bowl game where Joe Germain hit David Boston to give Ohio State the win over Jake Plummer and the crew. That was a classic Rose Bowl game, classic Rose Bowl matchup. Penn State, SMU, JJ.
Penn State.
Ooh, okay. You thought about that one though, because your eyes went up to the right.
Yeah,
you thought about that.
It will be really close.
Okay.
If Penn State does squeak that out, it will be really close.
Okay. So who do you have?
It possibly might even be a comeback.
Okay. Okay. So you can see SMU jumping out and Penn State coming back to win it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Home field.
Okay.
And just like in Indiana, it's gonna be snowy in State College too.
Okay.
I don't think SMU ready for that.
Penn State against Boise. Ashton Genty against that. We saw Oregon be, running the ball against Penn State's defense.
What bowl game is that? Is that's in Arizona? That's Fiesta, right?
Boise is in the Peach Bowl, I believe.
Oh, Peach Bowl.
No. Wait a minute. They made Arizona State go to the Peach Bowl because they didn't want. So that's the Fiesta. Yes, that would be the Fiesta.
Boise.
You got Boise because they'll be closer to home. All right.
Yep.
So you have Boise going to the semifinals, and they will match up against Notre Dame or Indiana. I know you're taking the Fighting Irish. I'm not even going to ask you.
Yep.
So we'll just go ahead to the quarterfinals. Georgia against Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
So Notre Dame against Boise in the semifinals, and Arizona State against Ohio State. Those are your final four teams. All right, KG, take us through your predictions early on for these brackets. Ohio State, Tennessee.
Michigan broke Ohio State. The look of despair on Jack Sawyer's face and the fact that Ryan Day stood there doing when your team is fighting, but you're just a chill guy. Ryan, if you don't get your behind in there and do something, I don't want to lose the Lucky Lefty Clean rating. My fault, y'all. But if you don't get your behind in there as the head coach and do something, his team looks at him different because the Ohio State fan base looks at him different because of that. I truly believe that team has lost faith in him in a meaningful way. I think that they're the better team, but I'm telling you something. Tennessee is coming. Tennessee is coming. That is an Ohio State team that does not like to get physical. They do not like it to get mucky and messy. And as much as they paid Nico, guess who's been the star of that offense all year? That tailback.
Yes, sir.
He has been the guy. Yeah. Let me tell you something. He's looking like Samson when his hair had locks down his back because you can't stop the guy. You can't stop him. So give me Tennessee to win that.
It's just something with Ohio State, and when they have their backs against the wall, they show up.
That's
and normally I would agree with you, but I saw something from that Ohio State team.
No, I
saw a level of
I definitely see what you're saying too, for sure.
Let me tell you something. The game is one of the most watched games in America every single year. Them boys got no most in front of the country. Ryan Day was so obsessed with saying we're going to be the tougher team that they refuse to take advantage of they have superstars on the outside.
Yes.
Will Johnson was in street clothes. What the hell are you doing not throwing the ball? I'm sorry. I love Judkins and Henderson. They're really good backs. Hey, listen, y'all going to get about 10 touches. 6 of them are going to be swing passes because we're going to work these stars on the outside. We're going to ride our horses.
You see that big number 4 over there? Yeah.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
But you know what? Ryan Day said instead? I'm going to beat them at their own game because I'm a tough guy.
I'm going to prove them a fake tough guy.
I'm going to prove to them I'm tough. Like when I went to South Bend and I scored on 10 guys and I told a 95-year-old Lou Holtz, we're not soft. He wanted to have his we're not soft moment, and the team lost respect for him because of it. Tennessee wins that game, but Oregon beats Tennessee.
Okay, so who you have with the Texas Longhorns and the Clemson? I already know, but you can't stand Dabo, so I know you're going horns in this one, right?
Let me tell you something. I think this is going to be the closest and most entertaining of all the first-round games. I really and truly do. I don't think much of either of these teams, but I think that they will put on an exciting game. With that being said, it could go either way. I would not be surprised because I wanted to say the team in orange going to win this one. That's how close I think these two are. But with that in mind, I think to myself, if all things are even, who do you give the advantage to? Texas has home field advantage, and Texas has the better quarterbacks. Not just quarterbacks. And I think Sark is willing to put in Arch if Quinn ain't getting it done early. I got Texas winning a close one here. I got Texas winning a real close one. And with all due respect to Arizona State, hey, y'all have had a fantastic year. Hang a banner. Seriously, I'm not joking when I say that. Like, y'all made it to the Elite Eight of college football, the first ever Elite Eight in college football. Y'all made it. Congratulations. Cinderella's glass slipper comes off right here. Texas takes this one and moves forward to meet Oregon.
Penn State, SMU.
You know, JJ brought up something that I had not considered. I had not, because I thought SMU was going to win a close game. But he did bring up one factor that I've seen in real life play out in a crazy way. The weather in Pennsylvania is different than what SMU is ready for. And SMU is called what? Miami West. So it's not even like they have a bunch of guys from up north that's like, yeah, that's where I live. That's how I do. That's what we do. As much as I know Penn State can't win big games, if everything is working in their favor, like the weather and like the fact that a brawl favors them, which it may turn into, because it's hard to get a passing game going when that weather is cold and that ball feel like a brick. Oh, it's tough. It's tough. I think Penn State wins a close one. But when they go see Genty and company, I don't think he'll be the back that has the most success in the NFL in this game, but he will be the back that walks away with a win. Give me the boys with the blue turf to be in the Final Four.
Okay. Last bracket, Notre Dame against Indiana.
See, here's the thing.
There's no way. There's no. You can make this sound interesting.
Let me tell you. I want to pick Indiana because every time I believe in Notre Dame, they let me down. They let me down every time I believe in them. Every time I'm like, all right, I've had enough. They show up. However, this is another one. Indiana, hang the banner. Y'all made it to the not quite Sweet 16. I don't know, the tantalizing 12 or whatever of college football. You made it to the inaugural 12-team playoff. Congratulations, your season ends here. I don't think Notre Dame loses at home. I think that there is entirely too much that even if Notre Dame were on the road in this game, I mean, let's be honest, right? That stadium would be Navy. It wouldn't be red. So I think that Notre Dame wins this game. And here's the thing. Notre Dame, Georgia, I've got one simple thing about this game. If either team scores 30, Georgia wins this ball game. However, I really and truly believe this is going to be a race to 21, a race that I think Notre Dame wins. Those backs are too explosive. Etienne is good. He's been banged up all year. He really has been. He looked good. He looked all right. Let me not even say good. He looked all right in the SEC championship game. He looked all right. I don't think that that's enough with a backup quarterback to beat Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame advances in a very ugly game. A really, really
I'm talking about some pass popping.
Let me tell you something. Man. Let me tell you something. That game right there, that's going to be one of those games that if you hear it on TV, it's going to sound like the Indy 500 when a bunch of wrecks are happening all at once. It's just going to be pop, 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 pop all over the place.
Yo, almost like that Makuba hit on that Georgia quarterback at the end of the game. I thought that dude was about to be, man, there's no way. I was like, they have to get him out the game. He is definitely concussed.
That boy almost walked to the wrong huddle. He said, wait a minute, what? Are we the away team? Why is there so much white in this huddle over here? What happened?
He was telling everybody, I'm good. No, bro, you're not good.
Yeah, he laid not good. On that young man. He laid quite the thud on that young man. But my Final Four is ultimately going to be Oregon, Texas, Boise, and Notre Dame.
Okay. Oregon, Texas, Boise, Notre Dame, and semifinals. That's as far as we're gonna go. That's man. Good predictions, man.
Hey, listen, I just want to let it be known the Steve and Jelly lobby will not silence me. I will always show up when Lucky Lefty requests me, but just know certain others will not show up when I request them to be here. Not calling out anybody.
Now you know this is ironic because you ran for a little bit.
That's not true at all. That's not true
for a little bit. When Riley was struggling, you went a little AWOL.
Listen. We could drop the screenshots of the text message thread right now. I missed one request to show up because I had previous arrangements. And yes, I had a previous engagement.
Ladies and gentlemen, he was caking. He was caking. I'm not mad at him, though.
Hey, listen, I'm trying to get like y'all too, okay? JJ got a fiance over there. Sean been married longer than I've been alive. I'm trying to get like y'all. I mean, damn. If I'm doing lucky lefty, when I'm gonna make time to be, to be putting something on somebody's left hand, That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, with that being said, don't worry. I'll be back anytime you want. Tell Malik to show up next time because I'm looking for him. I'm looking for Mr. Zaire.
I'll put in the calls. I will dedicate the first 30 minutes to you all sparring it out.
I've been looking for him. Because I was told that Riley Leonard was just the worst thing since sliced bread. And again, I even conceded 1 year Reynolds at quarterback. That's tough. It's tough to work that out. Tough to manage it. And yet, y'all had one of the ones that got you to 11-1 in the playoff bid. Yeah. Don't worry, Mr. Zaire. I know, but with the last name Zaire, you have to wait a long time to get your name called at graduations and all that type of stuff. I get it. But I'm calling you first, brother. I want to talk to you. Let's have a conversation, Malik.
In all fairness, we understand that the best player on the offense side of the ball is number 4. We all agree, right?
That's not even talk.
Okay. Okay. What'd you say, JJ?
I said I wish he got as many carries as Genty.
I think next year you see, because it was the same thing the sophomore year for Logan and Aldridge. And then Aldridge got the bump his third year.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot more carries. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen for Jeremiah because Logan left and transferred. I think Jadarian is still coming back. Elias is going to still be there.
I
think part of what makes Jeremiah so good is that balance. I think it is that
and he's fresh.
To be fresh legs, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's what's so amazing about what Jonty is doing because he's it. He's it. That's it. They don't have no other guys. They're like, hey, he's gonna be a 1,000-yard rusher when Ashton leaves. No, it's just him. There's no big three. It's just big me. That's all he's got in that backfield. So I really do think that part of the strength of that backfield and why they get to be the fastest backfield in America is because nobody's getting 30 touches a game. It's broken up like, hey, listen, who's fresh, who's ready? We're gonna work it out like that. Who's playing? Who's playing their best ball right now? And that rotation works out well for Notre Dame.
And kudos to Notre Dame, man. Just the growth in every area once again.
And Sean, did that young offensive line? If only somebody would have said that young offensive line is going to get better as the year goes on. If only somebody had said those young guys. You said it too, JJ.
That comes.
I said it.
JJ did say it. He did say it, but it comes with a caveat. JJ, you can see the worst mistake they made was the switch in the offensive line came when the Billy Shroud came back and they switched him over to left guard from right guard and put him next to Anthony Knapp. It was a huge mistake to put two freshmen next to each other on one side of the offensive line. They put a senior next to him. They put a senior next to the left tackle, and that made his game. That took his game to the next level.
I don't disagree with that, but I remember I was told by somebody who's not here to defend themselves because they knew they was finna get jumped.
My point is, if they had kept, because Pendleton was getting worse, game after game.
I get that.
If they had continued to keep those two young guys on the left side, nothing would have changed. But the change was Billy Shroud coming back.
And my belief from the beginning was give the young guys time.
You did say that.
Give the young guys time. Give them mentorship, and they'll figure it out. And you talked about the mentorship piece. I did not know the mentorship was going to be, hey, we need a senior next to our freshman. But look what happened. Because, I'm not saying it was the Steve Angeli lobby again, but I'm saying that it was somebody who did not like Riley Leonard also telling me, oh, you need to play the old guys on the offensive line. It's so interesting that certain folks are not here right now. Don't you find that interesting, Sean?
You got to hold it. Save it. I'm just saying save it.
Hey, what Travis Scott said? Pick up the phone, baby.
Hey,
Hey,
I'll
Malik,
Don King it. You
I'm
know
in the
I'm
room,
Don
baby.
King it.
Come on.
I'll Bob Aram the thing. I'll promote it for you. I got you.
You need to be his customer because he finna get worked.
But you know,
there's some receipts coming.
It's going to be a heavyweight fight. This won't be like one of those decisions. This is going to be Hearns and Hack. Like y'all just throwing blows.
Let me tell you something. He can throw all the blows he wants, but the blows can't stand up against the time of receipts. The blows can do what they want, but I've got that Mike Tyson right hook. I've got that judge straight that Ali used to put on him. I've got the receipts. I said the young guys on the offensive line were going to be just fine. That's the way you needed to go. Your boy disagreed with me. I said Riley Leonard is a quarterback that's going to at least get you to the playoffs. Your boy disagreed with me. And now all of a sudden that the playoffs are announced. JJ, don't you find that peculiar? Don't you find that interesting? Don't you find that a little... What position did you play when you played, JJ? What position did you play?
I was a D lineman.
You were a D lineman. Don't you find it interesting when board drill happens and that offensive lineman that was talking to you crazy about what he was going to do to you in camp all of a sudden moves to the back of the line when you're in the front? Don't you find that peculiar?
Hey, my name's Bennett, and I ain't in it.
What you saying? I love me some board drill. You know, I love one-on-ones too. Don't get me wrong. I love getting after a quarterback. But that board drill is where boys become men. Okay? I had to go up against this big bubba named Ali Kassim. You can Google him if you don't believe me. The brother was 350 pounds when he got to state. He ate so much he gained 30 pounds during camp.
Wow.
And you know, me and him never saw eye to eye on anything. I didn't like the way that he ate. I thought his diet was terrible. I didn't think he wanted to be a champion. And, you know, he thought I was pretentious and self-righteous and I talked too much. So when it was time for board drill, guess what happened? I gained respect for Ali. He gained respect for me. And I got the best of him more than he got the best of me. But damn it, we both walked away as men knowing we're better for it. So whenever your boy wants to come and get down on some board drill, I know he's a quarterback, but tell him it's time to get in the trenches. It's time to get nasty. It's time. Because all of my predictions for Notre Dame came true. As opposed to the Steve Angeli lobby said, you know, Marcus Freeman's going to die with this quarterback. He's going to die with this quarterback. And now we're talking about backing up the Brinks truck. How ironic.
Some points were made.
Don't worry about it. Malik, I'm putting in a call to you. I know Lucky Lefty Nation's going to clip this and send it to Malik. Good. Tag me. Tag Malik when you do it. Because we're looking for you, Malik. We're looking for you. You know, I know he's been in hiding because his Bengals are bad too. My Lions are atop the league. I know it's a tough time for Malik. I know his Lakers are struggling. His Lakers are struggling too.
Bengals, bro.
No, his Lakers are struggling. Are any of his teams not struggling right now?
Yeah, Bron and the Lakers are struggling. Yeah.
Are any of Malik's teams not struggling right now? But don't worry, Malik. You've got one more licking coming your way, and then you'll be able to see clearly now that the rain is going on the other side. But there's no way, you know, the only way through this is to go through this, brother. That's the only way through it. Come on back, Malik. Come on back.
Oh, the one and only Ken Gibbs and my boy Jerron Jones, man. Right here, we had to come on with you guys and just give our thoughts on the initial release of the rankings and our thoughts about it, how it impacts Notre Dame. And we'll have more throughout the week, not only with Left, but Jerron, he'll be back with Reg and Big O. I haven't talked. Did you hear from O? I don't know if they won the championship.
No, I ain't hear from him.
Yeah, I didn't hear from them. So hopefully they won the state championship in the state of California. I think Class 2A for them, Marietta. And oh wow, Juan Soto just got 750 from the Mets.
To go where?
To the Mets.
Oh my God.
We played the wrong sport.
JJ, I keep forgetting you from New York. JJ's like, come on, man.
Boy,
he went to the Mets, JJ.
750.
I know the Yankees is tight.
I should have never touched a football in my life. 750.
What is it? Let me see.
Mike gonna have to beg me to play football.
Listen, hello. You get 750 and your brain don't get a little soft, son. Come on, swing this back.
765 for 15 years, my brothers in Christ.
Oh my God.
JJ went black, dude.
Let me tell you something. I'll go black too, signing that contract. 765.
50 mil a year.
50 mil a year.
I want you to put this in
and he's not even going to play the entirety of that contract. There's no way. But let me tell you this: it's guaranteed.
But I want you to put something in.
It's fully guaranteed. All baseball contracts are fully guaranteed.
Let me tell you something. Let me let you in on the secret, okay? Right now, I believe the Mega Millions is the bigger of the two because somebody just hit the Powerball. That's at about 600 something million.
Yeah.
This man is getting paid beyond the lottery money. Hey, son, let's go play some stickball. But Dad, you used to play football. Pick up that damn stick. I'm gonna throw this bottle cap. You gonna hit it.
Hand-eye coordination. You better focus.
Right.
Focus. They said that the girl from the Chicago Sky, the guard Kennedy, was dribbling in the dark.
Kennedy Carter.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna be the Joe Jackson of baseball. All my kids. Hey, we're playing stickball in the dark. Whoever doesn't get a hit doesn't eat tonight.
But Dad, I want to play football. I want to play football, Dad.
Yeah, and I want a $765 million contract, son. So I'm gonna keep throwing these bottle caps, and you're gonna learn from the sound how to hit it. All right. You take it easy.
By time your son gets to that age, we're talking about billion-dollar contracts now in baseball by that time.
Probably.
Well, son, don't worry. Your dad doesn't want too much. Just go ahead and take care of me and your mama. Break me off a little something. But what they used to say on Steve Harvey show, break me off a piece of that phone. Just a little bit.
I remember that song.
A little bit of that phone. A little bit. How many 10%? I can change it. How many 10%? Just break me off a little bit of that phone. Just a little piece. That's all Dad needs.
I'm going to be honest, man. As a producer, you and JJ got some chemistry, bro.
Hey, listen, we two trips for you.
Chemistry.
We
two defensive tackles.
That's how it goes.
The two D tackles. Who would have known?
That's how I go, man.
One from New York, and one from Detroit.
Hey,
Hey, in a minute with all these taxes up here, I might be moving over to Detroit.
Your taxes cannot be worse than Cali or Illinois. Illinois is crazy.
No. Let me tell you something. Cali and New York taxes are different. Yeah, them taxes are different, boy. You got city, state, and county tax. Not to mention, you still got federal to pay on there, too. Uncle Sam taking a gram out the bag in Cali and New York. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
That's crazy. Illinois is suffocating, bro. We hopping up there.
Let me tell you something. If Illinois is suffocating, New York and Cali on the Trail Sprewell, it just choked the mess out you. You just feel like PJ Carlesimo. Just, let me go, please. Please let me go.
Please.
Please, just give me a second. Let me go.
Yeah, man.
So we'll be Notre Dame fans. Thank you for joining us tonight, man. Go enjoy Sunday Night Football for my guy, Jerron Jones, JJ. Ken Gibbs, Locked On Network. You can go check him out over at Locked On. You guys did a post game after the ACC championship game. Did you guys do a show?
I wanted to do a post game show, but it unfortunately didn't work out with my co-host previous obligations. But do not worry. We will be going live tomorrow to discuss not only the ACC championship, but the ramifications of that, as well as the playoffs and some of the things discussed there.
And some of the ACC schools that have bowl games as well.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
For you, would you call this a successful ACC campaign, or was it kind of underwhelming?
I would say the ACC being a two-bid league is slightly disappointing because I feel like Miami did enough. And I feel like the teams that were not debated that got in over them, why? It's a lot like I feel about Cam Ward's Heisman campaign. the players that were like easily penciled in over him, I'm just like, what did Shador do that Cam Ward didn't? And don't get me wrong, I love the Buffs. What did Shador do where you're like, hey, the Buffs, if you switch these two players, the Buffs are in a substantially worse situation based on their production, based on what we saw this year. So I feel like Miami deserved more love than what they got. See, you're right. Me and JJ do got love, man. He put up a thumbs up, but his camera said it for me. He said, hey, he's talking the truth, and I love that. But in all seriousness, I believe the ACC was a 3-bid league, but with the 2, you can't be disappointed because there was a point in time where people were talking about the ACC might not get in at all. So, to see 2 in, it's a little disappointing, but you live with it. And at the end of the day, I'll say this. The results on the field have to matter at some point in time. And I feel like the ACC has continued to show up and show out when they need to. So, I'm very interested to see how the bowl games play out because Cam Ward is potentially not opting out. And if he doesn't opt out, who knows? Xavier Restrepo may play. Martinez may play. Who knows what that looks like? And who knows if that starts something new altogether in terms of college football players not opting out. But, in terms of the ACC campaign, I'm not disappointed. I'm not elated. It just happened.
All right, super chat before we get out here. Our boy Jay Lamont says 2 mics looking fresh. My G, appreciate you, my dog. This is, just Sunday fresh. You know what I mean? It's the norm. You know what I mean? This is when you deliver the word. You make sure you're looking good. Shout out to my wife, Tiffany. That's the only reason I wear bright colors, ladies and gents. If it was up to me, it would be purely black, gray, and brown.
Yeah,
yeah. Yes, yeah, absolutely. She keeps me right, JJ. She keeps me right. She keeps me right. I won't even front. If it wasn't for her, I'll be out here looking like old Otis. Yeah, I'll be looking like old Otis for real. Up in the church each and every Sunday. Lucky Lefty podcast. So for everybody, man, enjoy your Sundays. Have a blessed Monday, and we'll see you guys with Players Only. Oscar McBride, Reggie Brooks, and Malik Zaire. We'll be back breaking down the matchup with Indiana and giving their thoughts on how everything broke down with the 12 teams. All right. We love you guys. Most of all, make sure you continue to spin it different.